5:32 leaving home.
I just arrived at campus, at the Wits campus. The reason why I'm up so early is no, I'm not an eager student. We have, so I'm part of GEMP 1, and we're in block 2 now, and we have what they call nursing visits. So they divided the classes into different groups, and then each group is going to a different hospital every Friday for the next 3 weeks. We'll probably arrive at like 7:30 7:30, and then we will depart around 12, 12:30. And the nursing visit, so I'm going to be in ward 60 in BARA hospital, which I'm quite excited about, and it's the obs and gynaes ward. Yeah, I'm pretty excited, especially because of BARA, because everyone talks about BARA and I've obviously never been, but it's definitely a hospital that I wouldn't mind doing my rotations in and service afterwards. It is now 1:30. I'm exhausted, but I absolutely loved it. So, as I said, I was in obs and gynae ward, and I'll be honest, there wasn't a lot going on. We did observe a wound being cleaned. So this patient unfortunately had an ectopic pregnancy. Only found out though at 4 months. So she obviously had to have surgery. They removed the baby, and her cut was lengthways. So from the top of the belly button down, and it had been left open and exposed. They did suture some of the wound, but left it mostly open so that it can obviously heal and not get infected. So we observed how they clean a wound. They crushed metronidazole flagyl up into a powder, and they kind of sprinkled that in the wound and packed the wound and covered that. So that was very interesting. So it was a very good first nursing visit. I don't think I told you why we're having to do this. So basically, Wits wants us to chat to 3 patients and talk about the biopsychosocial aspect. So talk about why they're here, if they feel comfortable enough sharing what operation they've had, have they ever been to hospital before, are they worried about anything, if it's a mom, does she have more children that are at home being looked after while she's in the hospital, the emotional aspect of the disease, not necessarily, or the condition or the injury, anything. So basically each visit, so the next visit will be another patient. We have to focus on a different aspect. So the first one today was communication, so identifying your body language, the patient's body language, your tone of voice, obviously your listening skills. The next session will be on the biopsychosocial, so more in-depth the emotional side. So are they stressed about being there? Are they worried about any of the results that they're receiving or anything like that? And then the last task is to focus on patient-centeredness. So you let the patient kind of just tell you everything or feel comfortable enough to tell you everything. So it's not about you talking, it's about you asking open-ended questions and then just listening to the patient, which I think, to be honest, is patient-centeredness is used in task 1 and task 2 as well, but they want you to report and type up more on patient-centeredness in task 3. So I will do another update when I do my second nursing visit. I hope you enjoyed the first one. Yeah, it wasn't what I expected. So, like, not that we all know what to expect, but the nurses were like really friendly, and there were a lot of fifth year vet students. Apparently, in the morning, the head doctor and the registrars and the interns and all of that go in, and yeah, and then the fifth years, I think, then take the patients for the day, or I don't know how it works. And then apparently, you're on call from 7 in the evening to like 1:30 in the morning. That's as much as the information that I got. Good morning, everyone. It is day 3. The third, the third hospital visit. I didn't update you on the last visit. So the last visit, the second nursing visit, was really, really good. We were able to go on a bit of a round with the fifth years and the doctors, and basically they go over, like, patient by patient, the patients that they admitted that evening and why they were admitted, what, if they've had any medication or tests already done. And then the senior doctors either agree with that, say you need to add something, or do this, do that. So it was really nice to listen and be part of that ward round. Today's the last one, and I'm looking forward to it, but it's bittersweet because, to be honest with you, it would be really nice if every Friday, you know, med students can go into a hospital, because you learn the most by being in the environment, in the setting. Well, that's how I feel. What's up, guys? So I'm going to update you on the final nursing visit. Sorry, my hair's a mess. It was by far the most exposure I had. So a lot happened. So luckily we were early enough to join the fifth and sixth years doing their rounds with the senior doctors, and it's just so interesting. I thrive off practical things, and so it was really interesting again to see, like, you have to explain why the patient was admitted through the evening, in the evening, and what investigations you have done, what medication have you put them on, what medications will you put them on, what tests will you want to do, and yeah, and then the senior doctors either agree with you, they say, have you thought about XYZ, are you doing this, or what about that, or so for me it's really constructive to have been able to watch that. And then we followed one of the nurses around all morning, and basically early in the morning, what she does is she goes to every single patient and she takes blood pressure, temperature, and then she administers any of the medication that the doctors have asked for. A lot of the patients are on Clexane, so she was giving Clexane injections, and then either, like, obviously the last one was the last visit we saw them, or the first visit, cleaning the wound and packing the wound, so they obviously do anything like that. They remove any catheters that they no longer need, or they're being discharged that day so they can remove the catheters. And then I think what was the most, I wouldn't say horrifying, but unexpected, maybe that's a better word, unexpected, was in the one ward while we were busy with a patient. Literally 3 women were having induced births, stillbirths. So they had, obviously I don't know the history of each of the patients, that they decided to have termination, or they needed termination of the pregnancy, and so they were being induced, basically giving birth. That was quite interesting to see. I wouldn't say it was necessarily that much of a shock for me, compared to some other students really battled with seeing that, because what happens is they put a lining underneath the woman, and literally she gives birth, and they fold the linen saver with the fetus inside, and they literally put it in a bucket, and that's it, and then you move on. And the next lady had her baby, her stillborn, and wrap it up, put it in a bucket. And when you, some of my colleagues battled with the removed emotion some of the nurses had towards the situation, and for me, it's just like, at the end of the day, if you've been a nurse in the hospital for like 40 years, 30 years, and you see so much, it's unfortunate that you do remove that emotion, or at some point that emotion is removed, and at the end of the day you see so many of those situations that it no longer has such a toll on you, I think. And for me, I volunteered for a year in an emergency unit, and even though it was private, you still saw a lot. So I saw a lot of people passing away. Either they were brought in and literally cold, ice cold. You try and resusc them, but sometimes you just are like, this is not going to work, but let's try. But the odds are not in the patient's favor, and they often don't come back. And then, yeah, so I've been witness to, I think, about 6 or 7 deaths while I was there. Patients going into cardiac arrest, just crashing, and I felt myself becoming very closed off to that emotional side. There's only, I think there's only so much you can do as a doctor. But for me, how I think I would like to move forward is in my career is, there's only so much you can do, and because I am Christian, I would like to rather leave it up to God. And so, in the sense that I am there to help as much as I can, but at the end of the day, if God wants this person, or it's time for that person to go home, then no matter what you do, even though everything you do is textbook, it's clinically sound, you do nothing wrong, and the patient still doesn't make it, it's not your fault. For me, God wanted that person. They had done their time on earth, and He wanted them home. So I think that's how I will move forward, and that's, I think, how the only way I would be able to cope in this environment. But overall, I love the nursing visits. I love BARA. It is like a city. It is crazy. There's like stop signs, and it's like a little mini city. So I really look forward to going back to BARA one day. And I must say, so overall, the whole learning about the biopsychosocial aspect and patient-centeredness, there is always a place. I know that it's very hard to try and practice that maybe every single day with every single patient, because there will just be far too many patients to actually spend that much time with, for them to maybe feel comfortable opening up to you. But I think it's something that I definitely want to try, always be conscious of when I interact with patients. And I think this one woman, that was my last conversation, she cried when she was talking to me. And basically she had like a lot of miscarriages in her life, and she never understood why, and no one seemed to know why or be able to explain to her why. I don't know, I can't remember if I asked, like, had she ever seeked medical attention before or what. But cut a long story short, she had massive, huge fibroids in her uterus, and so that's why she was now at BARA, and she had them removed, and she was actually about to go home. and she was just telling me how she's always wanted children and she's never been able to have, and now she thinks it's just like too late for her age wise. I think she was over the age of 45. So she was just now having to start accepting why God allowed this, why God didn't want her to have children. And like, I sat with her and she didn't understand what fibroids were, so I googled and I showed her, you know, what they look like in the uterus, explained, like, obviously not explained because I don't know much, but just showed her to see if maybe that could help her like have a better understanding of what she had. And I just, yeah, so it just showed me that everyone there is fighting some kind of battle. And you know, if you can, not that you can take away any pain or change anything whatsoever that they're going through, but they always say a burden, something about a burden shared is a lighter load or something like that. So yeah, I will leave this video at this. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm sorry they're cleaning the garden now, so I think I must go. Please don't forget to like and comment on this video and subscribe to my channel. I'm going to try and push out a lot more videos for you guys. And yeah, keep well. Bye.